Thank you so much
Pleasure.
for joining us.
Yeah, pleasure to be here. I've not been here for quite some time. It's Balai Berita. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us at Balai Berita.
Lots of things have happened here. Lot of history here as well.
Okay, so that's great. We're going to start with the first question. Maybe we could start with your childhood. How was it growing up in Kelantan in the 50s and 60s and schooling in English schools?
Kelantan has always been rural. Even those days, becoming a little bit more semi-urban in some parts of Kelantan. But those days we were very isolated, and we consider people from other states as orang luar or outsiders. And such was the case those days. So it was tough. It was tough those days. I had to walk to school quite a long distance, not too many schools, of course.
Okay.
And I had the good fortune of attending an English school, which is quite rare. Those days, one district in the end had one English school that provided a good grounding. Was great overall, and very small classes those days. We are very close to each other, and to this day, I'm close to my classmates in those years, in the 50s and 60s.
You must have been seen as one of the elites because the
not really. There's a few other guys as well.
Okay.
It wasn't just me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, Datuk, everyone can agree that you're quite down to earth, and you have always been caught doing things on your own, like carrying chairs for guests and using public transportations.
Yeah.
You know, like those normal things that people do in general, tapi quite hard to see a menteri or a former menteri to do, a politician to do. So, how do you feel about this? Like when people glorify it, like do you think it's just something normal, or actually netizens are just over glorifying?
Well, that's my normal self. Of course, you can act if you want to, but for me, it comes naturally. For example, over the weekend I was in the village. I was having some snacks on the wooden bench. As a matter of fact, it was a bamboo bench.
Okay.
In the villages, it's quite common. You don't sit on a proper chair or proper table. You don't have a proper table. You have tables and chairs made of bamboo. Yeah? And I do these things quite a bit, and I jog quite a bit, and I would be taking pictures of me jogging, and I dress myself for the occasion.
Yeah.
Meaning if I go to the ground, of course, I want to be part of them, which means slippers or t-shirts. They like it. In many ways, that's me, but sometimes I must confess, I do act, especially when it comes to posting some of these activities in social media.
Oh, okay.
But overall, I mean, that's my normal self.
It's raw, but sometimes controlled.
Well, most of the time it's natural.
Natural, okay. All right. And we heard that. Oh, okay, that's straight. What's your favorite thing to do during your free time?
Free time these days, as you grow old,
Okay.
your grandchildren, of course, I didn't have much time with them when I was a minister. I was so busy. Now a bit more time. Unfortunately, not as much. Because we used to be staying under the same roof. There was a time, for a long period, probably 20 years we were together. In the last couple of months, we split up into 2-3 places.
Oh.
So it requires a lot of effort to see them. And something that I regret not being together. But anyway, this is something that I look forward to, playing with my grandchildren. I've only got 4, unfortunately, and they're very small. Oldest, I got 2. The eldest is about 6 years old, both of them. Youngest is about 6 months.
Oh, 6 months.
Yeah, very small.
Since we're talking on your grandchildren, actually we heard some news, some stories that you would pick them up during parliamentary breaks, during their Dewan Rakyat sessions.
I do that. I mean, they attend, 3 of them attend preschool.
Okay.
And early morning, I would begin my day from my house early in the morning, pick them up and bring them to school. And sometimes I bring them back to school as well. I mean, it's not just bringing them to school in the morning, but also bringing them back to school. It's something that I don't do too often. I wish I can do that every day. But when Parliament is in session, I start my day early. I'm normally in Parliament at 8:15. And before I get to Parliament, one of the things that I look forward to doing when Parliament is in session is to pick them up, bring them to school.
And how do you feel about being a grandfather actually? I know you already spoke about like you wish that you had more time, but this is the other Datuk, the real Datuk, not just Datuk Sri.
It's something that many of us go through as a matter of course. I mean, at some stage of our lives, we get to perform this very adorable function. It's great, a great experience. I think the sense of togetherness, watching them grow steadily over the years, from the time when they can't crawl, they can't walk, they can't speak. So, I mean, when we were young, we had children. Those days, we probably not as close to our children as we are to our grandchildren. And that's a fact. Everybody will say that.
Yeah.
Many people are much closer to the grandchildren than they are to their own children.
You don't have that barrier. Okay, Datuk Sri, jemput kat sini.
Okay.
So Datuk Sri, there was much talk about UMNO could win Kelantan for GE14. You won both parliamentary seat and state seat, but not only did BN lost the state, but also federal level.
Yeah.
How do you feel malam tu when it happened?
Well, it didn't, it took me some time to realize that there's been a radical change in the country, change in political landscape. Some people probably knew at 10 p.m. For me, it dawned upon me about 12 midnight or 1 in the morning.
Okay.
It was some time. And it came as a surprise to everyone. But we have lived with it. I mean, it's not an issue anymore. For a few hours, a few days, we were talking about it and remembering those good old days. But people have decided. We decided. We acknowledge the fact that the people of Malaysia has rejected the Barisan Nasional. We have to move on with life. What's important now is that we all work for the country, irrespective of your position in life. Whether you're in government or on the other side, all of us want to see a better Malaysia. All of us want to do the best for the people of Malaysia, the future, the children of Malaysia. We want them to have a secure and happy future. So this is, in other words, I'm all for convergence of ideas. I'm all for greater consensus on major national issues. I think sometimes there's too much politicking. The time now is to think about the future. Let's work together for a better Malaysia.
Okay, alright. Let's read from here. This is our classified section.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anyways, back to the questions. Datuk Sri, what has been stopping you to go higher in the UMNO hierarchy? Because I would love for you to be the president.
No, I'm not. By nature, I'm not very ambitious.
Oh, okay.
I'm grateful for whatever has been bestowed by Allah on me. I had a good, productive life. I've done my best to the people of Jeli, where these are my constituents. I've done my best for Kelantan and indeed Malaysia, and I've tried to do something with the world as well. So I thought I've reached the peak of my political career, and I do not wish to go any further. And I'm satisfied with what I've done. I'm grateful to Allah for what I've achieved so far, and I must say I'm one of the lucky ones. And this is it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for you. Okay, but do you have any bigger plans? Okay, no, you don't have to answer it. We've stopped at that question.
Yeah.
So another question, the final question on UMNO, but it's not the final question for the Quickies.
Yeah.
UMNO is rebranding and going through a rejuvenation process. Is it really?
Yeah, we have some way to go. On the one hand, you can say it's been only 4 months. It's too soon to make a judgment. But on the other, we can see that people are very impatient. They want this to happen tomorrow or day after. Yeah? So we can understand that they want to see changes, and we know that they're not exactly happy, and that we have not changed. So it is incumbent upon us to work harder to make sure that we reform the party, change the face of UMNO to be more acceptable to the people. It's very challenging, very tough environment, but something that's got to be done for the sake of UMNO. Otherwise, UMNO will be relegated to history if that's not done in good time. Yeah.
Okay, so you're one of the most influential faces in the party. I mean, you got a lot of votes during the Supreme Council.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So, what are you bringing to the table for this rebranding?
It depends. I mean, it's not the work of a single person. Yeah, it's got to start from the bottom. Of course, the top has got to play a very important role. Top meaning the party president, the senior leaders, the state. It's a massive exercise. I mean, people have tendency to blame one or two individuals. This is an exercise that requires the support of everyone. So enough with this pointing fingers. We all have got to work for it. Even, for example, you're a leader at the grassroots level, you can have some influence. If you begin small, and this can create ripples in the system and can create a big impact. Needless to say, our leader, party president, has got a bigger role to play. I know that he's been thinking of all kinds of things, working very hard, and we hope that this will happen in the near future, the rebranding. If it does not happen, say by the end of this year, then I think we're going to do a lot of soul searching, to make sure that things are on the right track once again.
Okay, that was great.
That's it. Okay.
No, there's one more question. What's your all-time favorite Malaysian dish?
I'm very simple. Ulam is something that I look forward to, and ikan masin, ikan bilis, ikan masin. Ulam will be the kampung, what you grow in your backyard, what you pluck or pick from the neighborhood. Ulam has been my favorite, and sambal belacan budu, of course, is one of the favorite dishes. So these are simple things in life that I enjoy. I don't quite enjoy eating in fancy restaurants, and I don't know how to distinguish food from one fine dining restaurant to another. But when it comes to simple food, ulam and that makes a lot of difference. So I'm very simple by nature. My taste is very simple. I enjoy eating, say, boiled vegetables. I love veggies. I take a lot of veggies. My staple diet would be veggies and fish. Those are the two most important items on my menu.
So, that's three. You studied in Melbourne University and also Boston University. What was the experience like, and your best memories there?
In my earlier days in Australia, the biggest event was the culture. It's a shock for me to be immersed in a totally different culture. You see, I came from the village. I never went to boarding school, and I was transplanted in this new environment. It was a shock for me, and I almost gave up. Not once, a few times, almost gave up. I'm glad I stayed the course, but there were moments in my life that I thought I had enough of it. And I had an experience dealing with a drunkard for the first time in my life. That was very scary, because you don't see where I come from, Kelantan. I've not met any drunkard in my life. So these are some experiences. But the biggest thing was a culture shock. And language was also an issue, because the slang, the way they also speak, it was tough to kind of accent. That was tough. So those are some difficult moments. These are things which I remember. But I'm happy because I had lots of support from my friends, Malaysians, of course, in the beginning, and later on Aussie friends.
And in the States, was it like the American dream?
States was, by the time was in my late 20s. I was more mature. I was married. My wife was with me, and so it wasn't much of a. It was a breeze. I mean,
it wasn't like your fraternity when you're
no. By that time, it wasn't a problem anymore. There's no culture shock, no language barrier, no problem at all. But when I was in my late teens, I was transplanted into this new environment. That was very tough.
Okay. All right, that's it. This is our last question.
Okay.
What's your favorite song?
Song I go for sentimental, slow numbers, nothing particular, but mainly Piramli sometimes.
Piramli? Datuk, maybe you can sing us a few lines, please. Datuk.
No,
any song.
I'm not good. I'm not good at singing. I'm not good at singing.
Oh no, that's really, we want to see your other side.
There will be another time. I'm not prepared for that.
Okay, fine. Datuk Sri, kalau macam tu, we want a bonus question.
Okay.
Do you cook?
I do sometimes, not too often. My favorite dish is this is a Kelantan dish called ikan singgang.
Ikan singgang.
This is normally ikan kembung.
Okay.
You put a bit of water, a bit of ginger, some water. Very simple.
Okay.
You first you put water in a pot. You boil it, and you put the fish. Normally it's ikan kembung, and some onions, some chili. And some ginger. That's it. And it's ready in about 10 minutes.
Wow.
Very simple food.
There you have it, the recipe by Tok Pa.
Yes, yeah.
And you cooked it during your university days?
I was in college. I didn't too much.
Okay.
But during vacations, but over there, of course, steak and those kind of things, lamb chop and.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Datuk Sri.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Hope you enjoy the forum.
Okay. Thank you.